my darling. I can feel that you are in the squish, finding yourself floating around, much like when you were newly born, fresh in this lifetime. Although you are no longer suspended in the safety and floating feeling of my etherical womb, it likely does feel to some degree like you are floating in this new reality between these new timelines. And also feeling the odd weight of gravity that comes upon you once you have made your way through the birth canal and out into this new version of you. Much like a butterfly that has allowed my spirit, my mother spirit, to hold it in the cocoon, taking it through the stage of unbecoming a caterpillar, becoming goo, and then becoming the beautiful butterfly that then must find itself a seat on some rockery or mushroom and sun its wings so that they may dry and be ready for its very first fly. That, my dear, is where you are. And I know that this new world around you, it can seem far too bright at times because your new eyes are not yet used to the light. And it can feel strange to get up and walk around and touch everything again because it all feels like it has a new energy signature, and it does. For my child, everything you have touched in the past has been touched by older versions of you that helped you get to that chrysalis stage, to where you are now born anew. And now it is the new you touching all of those things and all of those people and all of those spaces and all of those thoughts, scents, feelings. You are re experiencing a world around you that was cultivated by older versions of you. And you might notice all around you, some things are wonderful and you see them and you see how you consciously manifested those things and people and experiences into your life, and you might feel a new sort of sense of delight about it. And there will be other things that you will see that in some ways you might be like, that was not me that brought that here, that asked for that. And maybe some other things you'll look at and say, yes, yes, that was a silly older version of me that decided that they needed that experience. And you might look at some things and say, you know what? That experience, that place, that time, that space, that interaction with that other being, that was so, it was definitely an experience that I needed to have, though I no longer desire that experience. And you might have epiphany moments like that, and you might try them on in your mouth, much in the way that a toddler does when they're picking up anything and everything. You might play with how the words and the thoughts feel in your mouth, or when you speak them or write them down on a piece of paper. And there might be some times even that with your new ears and your new eyes that you see and hear things in new ways. Likewise, your third eye, your intuition is much wider and much more open now than it ever has been, and so too is your crown chakra, and they connect. And they connect most strongly now to your heart chakra, for all the rest have strong roots and are firmly in place, for they needed to be in order for you to be able to experience this space. And whether consciously or unintentionally, you have arrived in this space because you worked on your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus. And you have come very close, and soon you will have arrived at a balance for your throat chakra as well. Though that is not a necessary requirement for you to have been reborn, resurrected, if you will, into this new being that you are. And you might find yourself in kind of a strange place, feeling much like you might imagine that you would have when you were in the earliest stages of your life. Sure, it is not the same. You have much more developed thoughts. You might even notice now the difference and separation between the thoughts that are you, that always connect you to me and all the rest of the beings in non physical spaces and other dimensions, and that which has been given to you, for better or for worse, by the beings around you in the collective timeline that you have been experiencing up to this point. And some of you may feel grumpy sometimes about all the things that the new you recognizes have happened. You might find that you've made more mistakes than you intended to. You might find yourself a little upset with you. Or you might even find yourself upset with those around you who have been instrumental and exceptionally supportive, great dance partners and play partners as you've gone through your journey. You might even find yourself grumpy with them. You might find yourself squishy around them. Maybe they have said something that, well, in your squishy place, has brought up some older squishes that you are now able and ready to face in new ways, if when, for the ones that you faced before, and altogether new for the ones you weren't even aware were there. And it is okay. It is okay to feel any way that you do. You might also feel renewed about older dynamics and situations that you once thought were improbable at best. And you might find that your ego is not where it was when you last left it, and that pridefulness and self centeredness no longer dominate in your energy anymore. You might find a whole lot of new things going on, and that is okay. Because you are held, you are divinely protected by more than just this divine mother energy. Though you have come to a time and a space where when you can hear this and take it in and feel it resonating within you, that you are able to start hearing the many voices of spirit and your ancestors and the many beings that exist in places that you have yet to even see yet. And in this space, in this time, in these places, you are held as you were when you were freshly born. Because up until that point, you did the best you could with what you knew how to do. And all you knew how to do before that time was grow, was turn into cells that multiplied and became this little squishy being that popped out and cried and then smiled and giggled and fell asleep after eating. And much of your life before this point in time has been filled with many similar activities, if you really think about it. And now it is time for you to learn to get up and walk on new sea legs, and to recognize that you are always held in that gentle, loving space where, however you feel, whenever you feel it, and for whatever reason or without any reason that you feel it, is more than acceptable, is more than it is wanted, for this is part of this human experience. For you to feel all the highs and all the lows and all the mids, because it's not always all about that base. Life is, well, it is many things, but more than anything is, it is what you want it to be.